On to our very first story. There's tension within the new governing Patriotic Party in the Yendi constituency after chaos disrupted the counting of results after Saturday's primary. The third vice chairman of the MPP declared incumbent Farouk Aliyu Mahama winner. But one of the aspirants, Hajia Abibata Shani, while appealing to her supporters to remain calm, described the incident as a grand scheme by regional executives to get her opponent elected.
The Yendi constituency was identified as one of the flashpoints. The Yendi parliamentary primary, which began successfully, was later marred by violence. A misunderstanding ensued between supporters of Hajia Abibata Shani after one of them alleged that some ballot papers were sneaked onto the counting table. The angry supporters began to tear ballot papers. It took the intervention of the security present to calm the situation.
And everybody has to be mindful about the contractors who take people money, who want to disturb the peace of the process. And the security are here. If they are able to get out the person, they have to deal with him, and the law will take its own course. And we cannot tolerate to disturb the peace of the entire process.
The ballot boxes were moved to the Yendi police station. After hours of engagement, the third national vice chairman, Alhaji Masawudu Osman, declared the incumbent member of parliament, Farouk Aliyu Mahama, as the candidate-elect.
National Secretariat, which is led by our General Secretary Justin Frimpong Kodia, and declare Alhaji Farouk as the parliamentary candidate-elect.
For some delegates and supporters of the MPP in the Yendi constituency, the incident will potentially affect the party.
We are of the view that the Yendi constituency seat is the heart of the MPP, and we can't afford to lose the seat.
Speaking for the first time after the incident, Hajia Abibata Shani Mahama, while calming her supporters, said she won the elections.
I believe strongly that I won the election. And as we sit right now, we do not have a parliamentary candidate.
She took a swipe at the third vice chairman for announcing her opponent as the candidate-elect.
As of now, I haven't heard from the General Secretary, and I don't want to believe that he really gave him the authority to do that.
Well, the final decision of who won the Yendi parliamentary primary still remains unsettled. The party will have to do extra work if they want to retain the Yendi seat. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Yendi.
Meanwhile, the Director of Research and Elections of the new Patriotic Party, Evans Nemako, says the party is awaiting an official report from the police and regional executives to take a further decision. Take a listen.
The party farmed out regional officers and national officers to ensure that the guidelines, the protocols issued by the General Secretary are all compliant. At this point, a request of you that we exercise a bit of constraint and receive from our regional and national monitors who are assigned to the Yendi constituency, as well as report from the Ghana Police Service and the Electoral Commission, that in the case of Yendi constituency, we exercise a bit of restraint and calm down whatever tension there is, and appeal to party members in the constituency that they respect the guidelines that were given. The party is awaiting a report from the regional and national representatives who were assigned to the constituency, as well as collaborating it with the report from the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service.
And our political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante, however, believes the MPP can use internal resolution mechanisms to resolve the Yendi confusion.
I think it's an unfortunate situation that you go for the poll, and at the end of the day, there is, if you like, a draw, sort of. It's worrying, but I believe MPP as a big party has the mechanisms to deal with this problem. So one, I expect it to be part of the document that they use to run the affairs of the party. For instance, the constitution should be able to direct as to how to do it. Other than that, any other procedure and processes that can also assist, particularly when you are using alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, you should be able to help them to deal with this problem head on. So it is a problem, but I think there's a way out. The way out is to use the rules of the game to deal with the problem, or at the end of the day, if push comes to shove, if the election will be annulled, let it be annulled and a fresh one conducted.
Well, let's still stay on the MPP primaries because Member of Parliament for Asante Akim North and the IPAC is unhappy with the monetization of politics at the expense of competence. Speaking to the media after retaining his seat, the two-term lawmaker said seeking political office has become too expensive and this would deter many competent persons who do not have enough money to give to delegates not to contest.
The monetization that is coming into politics is making politics unattractive. And I tell you, and I sound this warning, if this is the way we are going to go all out, next time I will not be competing because it's not worth spending all this kind of money and not getting anything back. Unfortunately, people think that when you go to parliament, you make money. The converse is the truth. It is an exact opposite. People who come to parliament, if you don't have any profession, you will not be able to succeed in parliament. And most of our people are losing because they didn't have the capacity, the financial resources to contest. Some of us have come through because of our professional earnings. We can continue to earn money in our professions and come and dump them in politics and even attract the insults and the undermining and the name calling. So politics is becoming unattractive. And I'm serving this note that if we don't change our ways of selection, I will not be a candidate next time. We need to select people who have the capacity and the competence and the interest and the energy to go into parliament. We don't have to pick anybody to go into. I cannot be a mason. I cannot be a carpenter, but I can be a lawyer. So if you look at my competencies, place me where I belong. Don't allow it to be an open enterprise that anybody without any preparation at all will come in, and because he has blood money, he will throw the money about and become member of parliament. He comes to parliament and he cannot perform. And I'm saying this. I'm very serious about it. Not many people will tell you what we are going through, but I'm saying it. And I think that people will take me serious. I know that the monetization will bring wrong candidates.
And the IPAC is a member of parliament for Asante Akim North. Let's still stay in the camp of the MPP. The Ashanti regional chairman of the party, Bernard Entry, also known as Chairman Wuntumi, is expected to appear before the Asanteman Traditional Council later today over comment he made against Benshia Palace. An earlier meeting last week between the council and national leadership of the MPP ended with a direct order for the party to produce Chairman Wuntumi at all costs. He failed to show up at the first summons by the council on January 15 due to ill health, a reason given by the MPP General Secretary Johnson Kodia Frimpong. Wuntumi is expected to appear with the management of Wuntumi Media and lawyer Maurice Ampao, who is also believed to have made similar disparaging comments against the Benshia Palace.
Bella.
Well, away from the camp of the MPP, the opposition NDC is set to push for major electoral reforms as the party returns to IPAC meeting later today. A document titled NDC Position Paper on Electoral Reforms lists a litany of changes the party believes could significantly improve the credibility of the polls. Key proposals include an all-year-round voter registration system under which persons who turn 18 can walk into an office of the EC to get registered. The party also wants the EC to maintain the current 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. voting time, as against heeding to calls to have an earlier closing time, We'll bring you more on this push for reforms in our subsequent bulletins. Still on the NDC, the party is meanwhile optimistic about the revitalization of the IPAC, drawing inspiration from the robust consensus-building platform established during the 10 years of Dr. Afarijan and Charlotte Osei as chairpersons of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. The party anticipates collaborative endeavors that will strengthen Ghana's electoral system, benefiting not only individual political parties, but also upholding the democratic values of the nation. This was in a release signed by Fifi Fiavi-Kwete, the General Secretary of the NDC. The party boycotted IPAC meetings in March 2020, citing concerns about the posture of the EC and its failure to consider decisions taken at IPAC. The NDC's decision to rejoin IPAC was reached after intervention by the National Peace Council and the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, ahead of the 2024 general elections. Well, let's know what you make of stories that have been aired so far. Just go into our social media platform, particularly Facebook, we are live. Engage us with your comments, and we'll surely read them and share them to the rest of the world. In more news this morning, retired police officer Dr. Benjamin Agoo says his trial was a political persecution instigated by some government officials. Judging from his arrest to the trial, ACP Agoo, retired, believes there were deliberate attempts to destroy his career and leave him frustrated, maintaining he was innocent to the accusations leveled against him. Christian Yale tells the story of this turbulent journey.
The 5-year trial dealt ACP Dr. Benjamin Agoo a huge blow. He lost touch with his friends and was financially strapped. What was an expression of his opinion became his nemesis and landed him a place he never dreamt to be. His world shattered with a tag he would forever regret bearing.
You have a family and all of a sudden everything was going well and all of a sudden everything is upside down. I mean, financially, you are handicapped, okay? And all your allowances out there are no longer there. Friends have decided to abandon you. You know, once you have been tagged with this coup and other things, people do not even want to call your phone because they believe that once you are called, their phones, the BNI could have access to their numbers and begin to trail them or question them. So I lost some of my best friends who have not spoken to me for the past 5 years.
But that would not be enough to deter him. He says his family was left vulnerable amid the seeming neglect by his employer.
A lot of trauma had gone on. The only difference had been that I'd always stood firm and assured them that, look, I had done nothing untoward.
ACP Dr. Benjamin Agoo sensed it, a politically motivated persecution blended with threat from top government officials.
Remember, when I was even acquitted, a minister came out to say, well, if they had done their work very well, they could have ensured that I wouldn't have been acquitted because, I mean, how could a senior officer be talking about Arab Spring on a platform? He had forgotten how his presidential candidate then talked about the same Arab Spring and was never arrested. You see, so it was really a persecution and a misunderstanding. That's why I insist that they should learn.
He cautions individuals to be mindful of their utterances, but maintains he cannot be gagged.
Looking at what I'm talking about here, has it gagged me? By my nature, I've always spoken my mind, even in the police service. And I must admit that I've had fair problems in the police service because I've always spoken my mind. This is a caution I'm giving to other people because it's happened to me and it may happen to another person. And we must be very careful about this phone and the BNI just seizing people's phone and extracting information without court orders. And when they do, they can even delete others. When they can even get the information, then delete your whole information, which they did to one of the accused persons.
Having retired from the police service, Dr. Benjamin Agoo is resolute and is hopeful to land new job opportunities to recover from his ordeal. He, together with 2 others in the coup plotters case, was acquitted and discharged, while 6 others were sentenced to death by hanging. But posterity has judged and ACP Agojo is exonerated. Christianity TV3 News.
You can watch the full interview when you go onto our website, s3news.com. And now to the foreign front. 3 West African nations of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have withdrawn from the regional economic bloc, Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Their respective juntas announced the decision on Sunday, accusing the bloc of inhumane sanctions to reverse the coups in their nations. The juntas said in a joint statement they have decided in complete sovereignty on the immediate withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger from ECOWAS, alleging that the bloc has moved away from the ideals of its founding fathers and Pan-Africanism after nearly 50 years of its establishment. It is the latest twist in a series of events that have deepened political tension in West Africa since it experienced its latest of a string of coups in Niger last year. Meanwhile, an international relations expert, Professor Vladimir Tridanso, says the decision by the 3 countries is not surprising. However, ECOWAS must use diplomatic means to resolve disagreement. Take a listen to him.
Diplomacy doesn't end anywhere. It's a long process. It depends on the cards you are putting on the table. And I believe we have what it takes. There are very good diplomats, well-versed in ECOWAS affairs. Beho and others are all there, very important personalities. This one you can use track 2 diplomacy, where you use prominent, eminent persons, chambers and others, to start talking, because whether they are out or in, we trade amongst ourselves. What will happen is that if they are able to form their own union, then any West African country will be taken as a third country. You'll be paying high tariffs on your trade with them.
Right.
So what we need now is diplomacy, nothing a Georgia or nothing else. No intimidation, nothing. There's nothing ECOWAS can do rather than Georgia.
Well, on that international note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, is 3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Have a good morning.